Tingo scatter vindi. Walkane ye ram shinga mwe nikaye oroduela miduega ataviwe.
Angbanev de yerin kwayan shinga pagachi do emi sitima myongo hin ate utiv sha itioki Citizen FM 93.7 radio kashin owan Angbanev kwa ngwan kwa ma henen kwa chi ama chotom ihemion danza ahwa aha ate utiv chi kati wase sha itioki Citizen FM ate utiv chi
93.7 Citizen FM.
Let's talk about it on our favorite radio station.
We're more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us on Insights on Citizen FM 93.7. You guessed right, my name is Lawrence Umotte. Well, all is now set for the pre-hearing session of the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal as the court sits today. In actual fact, the session started a few minutes ago, and we understand that there is an update I want to bring to you now. To trying to lay my hands on that. Okay, I'll bring that later. But the hearing is to clarify if there are any applications before the main application, or rather before the main hearing will start. The timetable will be set for the hearing of substantive matters. Justice Monica Damban Mensem, who is the president of the Court of Appeal, unveiled members of the panel today. Other 5 political parties are challenging the declaration of the All Progressives Congress standard bearer Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president-elect by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Okay, the update I wanted to give you earlier is that the presiding justice of the presidential election petition tribunal have made it clear that the court will not look at the substantive matter on merit, or that made it clear that the court will look at the substantive matter on merit and not mere technicalities. Stating this at the Court of Appeal earlier on, the justices assured that the cases brought before the tribunal will be decided bearing in mind the time factor. Meanwhile, the Labour Party, the People's Democratic Party, and the All Progressives Congress and the Independent National Electoral Commission have all agreed to cooperate with the court on the matter. The justices have proceeded to a short recess, and they are expected to resume at 10:30. That's in about 15 minutes from now. We'll take a short break, and when we return, the program will continue. All right, thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still Insights on Citizen FM 93.7. Once again, my name is Lawrence Umotte. I told you earlier that the much anticipated sitting of the Presidential Election Tribunal kicked off a few minutes ago, although it's supposed to be a pre-hearing session where some rules of the game will be laid bare, but we'll bring you details of that as it unfolds. But back to the program, we're telling you how the matters ended up in court, and 5 political parties are challenging the declaration of the All Progressives Congress standard bearer Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president-elect by INEC. Although we can say there are 4 now, because a faction of the Action Alliance who went to court indicated that they were withdrawing the case. So it's likely that the matter will be struck out today. Remaining 4 other political parties. The Action People's Party is in court also to file petition against the result of the election. The Labour Party and its presidential candidate, Peter Obi, is also in court. And also the Allied People's Movement is also in court, and not forgetting the People's Democratic Party and Atiku Abubakar also in court. So that's how we have effectively four political parties challenging the outcome of the election. So, and that's what we're going to talk about on Insight today. This is essentially just to give us an idea of what election petition is. We are not discussing the merit of the case. This is not supposed to be a law court. We just want to be guided on how things are done around that vicinity, and just to have an idea of what to expect at the end of the day. And my guest is a member of a friend of the house. I think he has earned that right. He's a friend of the house. His name is Ataguba Aboje. He is a solicitor of the Senior Court of England and Wales, and Ataguba is also a legal practitioner in Nigeria. Good morning, my brother.
Lawrence, good morning.
Thank you for coming here. I know. I had to drag you here because I know that every other lawyer would want to know what's happening at the Court of Appeal.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you for honoring us on the show today. You can join our live stream as usual on Insight. You can that's on YouTube. You can type in Citizen FM 93.7, and you'll be part of the show from any part of the world. And also, our social media platforms are also available for you. On Facebook, we have Citizen FM Abuja. On Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. And by 10:30 we will open the phone lines. So that's the issue we are looking at today. The Presidential Election Tribunal happening at the Court of Appeal officially commenced today, although it's a pre-hearing session, but then the matter has officially commenced. But let's look at it generally before we even look at the details of it. What are your thoughts generally on this tribunal?
Well, Lawrence, this is, for me, this is a walking democracy. I say this because in a democracy, the only way you can resolve disputes arising from an election or any other issue, contract, whatsoever it may be, is to submit such disputes before the law courts. And our laws have stipulated that once there is a dispute with regards to the outcome of an election, there should be constituted a tribunal who will have the powers to decide the winner or the outcome of that election, either by affirming the declared winner, or by nullifying it, or declaring that a rerun, a new election should be held. So this for me is just the bare bones of a democracy, and this is the only way we can ensure the longevity of our democratical structure.
In the last couple of weeks, perhaps one of the controversy that has really been protracted has been, should the court conclude this matter before inauguration takes place? Lawyers and Nigerians have been divided over this issue. What would you say about this?
Well, this is a very germane question, and it can be a bit confusing for the man on the street, I'll say. But the issues here is a question that arises where a winner has been declared in an election and there's dispute as to the validity of that result. What now happens? Do you go on to swear in that winner while there's a pending challenge to that declaration of results, right? Well, the rationale for this, if you look at the Constitution, it's clear, right? The Constitution, Section 285, talks about a tribunal a presidential tribunal that will be set up to decide whatever dispute that will arise from the conduct of an election, and that tribunal is given the powers to either affirm, nullify, or order a rerun of the elections. And if you look at the wordings of that section very clearly, right, you will see that it says that the election of the president may be nullified. And what that implies is that the tribunal does not have powers to nullify the election before the swearing in, because the wording used in that section is the president. It didn't use the word, presidential elect. President-elect. It didn't use that word. It used the word president, which presupposes that the government will continue to run while the matters, it's pending before the court. And in our Constitution, there are two rationales, practically, that if you look at it clearly, you see that under Section 35(1), of the Constitution, which refers to which declares that the person being charged with an offense is innocent until proven otherwise. Even though it relates clearly to a criminal trial, you can extrapolate it to a civil situation like the election petition and says that he has been declared. What is being put before the tribunal now is an allegation that requires proof of that allegation before the court will reach a decision. We reach a decision. And what that presupposes is that decision or the declaration of the result will remain sacrosanct until set aside by a court. And this allows for the smooth running of governance, because you cannot have a vacuum in power, because that will lead to a constitutional crisis. Because if you look at what the Constitution also says, is that the president, right, will vacate office at the end of his tenure. And if that is the case, then the present government will have no constitutional basis to remain in power at the end of his tenure. And if he cannot remain in power at the end of his tenure, who now takes his place? That's where the legal principle of what's that principle that was used by the National Assembly?
Doctrine of
necessity will arise. Because in order to stem a constitutional crisis that will lead to chaos in the polity, that doctrine will have to be applied by the courts in such a way that it is of necessity that somebody takes power. And that is where the swearing in comes in.
Okay, still on that, there is another level of appeal. After the Court of Appeal, which is the Court of First Instance in this matter, there is still the Supreme Court. So some people have wondered why can't petitions for presidential election just start and end at the Supreme Court and save everybody the time?
I think there's some support for that school of thought, right? Rather than taking the nation through a protracted hearing and heating up the polity while that is pending, why don't you just go straight to the Supreme Court like some other nations do? I think Kenya, has that kind of a system, because the earlier disputes are resolved, the better for everybody. Because right now, you and I know that the polity is being heated up because of the various speculations with regards to the outcome of the petition, or whether or not the honorable judges will dispense justice or not. It's a question that everybody is asking. And I think we need to look at our laws again. We really need to look at how matters like this are decided. But the Constitution has tried in a way to try to put a timeline to it by saying all petitions will be decided within a window of 180 days. But you and I know that 180 days, if you put that together with the time frame that is, the tenure of the present government will end, and the time that it will require for a new president to take over, 180 days is a long time.
That's 6 months.
Yes, it's a long time. And that in itself leaves room for the people to doubt the system, because someone whose election is being contested is now being given the ultimate power, in quote, as it were, in the federation. So what stops him from manipulating the system with the executive powers that he has acquired? So I think this needs to go back to the National Assembly, and I think we really need to look at it again.
I think talking about looking at laws, and do we embark on a holistic reforms of our electoral laws, or we start picking them one after the others? Because there seems to be a lot. For example, some people have also argued, why do you need a governorship petition to end up at the Supreme Court? And it starts at the court, at the tribunal, before it gets to the Court of Appeal, and it now gets to the Supreme Court. That's one. Then two, if we need to ensure that election matters are disposed with before swearing in, that means also touching on the Constitution. We need to tinker with a lot of all this things. So in effect, is that something the new National Assembly should take as a priority?
I think it's a priority for the nation, right, for the peace and sanctity of the nation. It's literally impossible for you to make laws to cover every possible scenario that may arise during the working of that law. right? And this has come to bear. We have seen the various loopholes that have arisen as a result of the laws. You look at what the Electoral Act. Initially, we were all happy that the electronic transmission will, work perfectly and save us from all the disputes previously. But looking at it now, in hindsight, we know that that has not helped us, because ordinarily those electronic systems are worked by human beings, and those human beings, have the potential, as it were, to be compromised. And if those who operate those electronic systems are compromised, then ultimately the electronic transmission that we're all happy about will also be compromised. So the law is always organic, it's always evolving, it's always changing, and it's always adapting to times. So it's not be out of place for the National Assembly to continue to improve on the law. So if you look at older democracies like the UK, the US, their laws are constantly evolving. They are constantly working on it, changing it to be in tune with modern times. So it's not out of place for us to look at it again.
All right, we have to take a break. Well, if you're just joining us, this is Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and my guest is Ataguba Abuja. He is a solicitor of the Senior Court of England and Wales, and is also a legal practitioner in Nigeria. He has been helping us to make sense out of the election petition, which officially kicks off today. Insight will return in a moment, and when we come back, we look at some other aspects of the election tribunal.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Super Citizen at Sunset on Citizen FM 93.7. This is the fun-packed radio show you heard about. Did you miss any one of our programming today? Join me, Diddy, from the Citizen Pot when we run through our programs from sunrise. Stay abreast, get informed on news roundup. It even gets better. Do you think you know Nigeria? Answer 3 questions correctly and be one of our daily winners on Quizzes. It is the full package. Let's take you back, way back on African Vibes. Let's celebrate the African people, the rich cultures across borders, the languages, the good food, and wealth of excellence on African Vibes. Join me every Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It is on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja.
I say get out of my house. And we don't get out. He go hard you. If you make a 10 slap on me, something go scatter in the walk on the air. I'm shingam nika do it. Me do it atavi.
Angbanev de yeren kwaya shingam pagachi. Do emi sitima myongo hin ate utiv sha itioki Citizen FM 93.7. Radio kashin ogwan Angbanev kwa ngwankwa mashi hene kwa chi. Ama chotom ihemyon danza ahwa aha. Ate utiv chi kati wase sha itioki Citizen FM. Ate utiv chi.
Lucas Moura running through. Here he is, and there's the goal back. And that's it.
Stand a chance to win prizes worth over 50,000 naira on our Champions League show. Catch the Champions League live on Citizen FM 93.7 every Champions League night. Join the sports machine Udeme George, Chinwe Pikin, and Monday live on Citizen 93.7 Abuja every Champions League night. This show is exclusive to Citizen 93.7 Abuja.
As possibly bleak as this. Drogba!
93.7 Citizen FM.
Let's talk about it on our favorite radio station.
We're more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. We are still talking about the Election Petitions Tribunal, which commenced a pre-hearing today in Abuja. Situation reports are still coming in. We understand that there is heavy security presence at the courthouse, and the people are restriction of people going into the courtroom expectedly is going on. We even understand that some journalists and lawyers were prevented from coming in, and besides, we know that the courtroom may not be able to take everyone who wants to go into that place. So that's the situation now. Even roads leading to the Court of Appeal have been cordoned off, and that happened even very early this morning, causing some discomfort to people who walk around the central business district. So that's the situation. We also understand that the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, is in court. He was cited there some minutes ago, and hopefully we think other presidential candidates may be there too. But that's the situation. And on Insight, we are looking at some processes guiding the election tribunal. My guest is Ataguba Aboje. He's a seasoned lawyer, senior lawyer who practices in Nigeria. He's also a solicitor of the Senior Court of England and Wales. Ataguba, thank you for sticking by.
Thank you, Lawrence.
As a lawyer, and I want you to give us a feel. What does it mean to be in courtroom today? What are the things that will go through your mind leading your clients and expecting to marshal out the point? What does it feel? Just bring us to speed. What exactly should or are the lawyers, are your colleagues going through now?
Well, this is the ultimate adrenaline rush for a lawyer and a litigator. Today is the opening day, howbeit preliminaries, but this is the time to outline, as it were, your case before the court, and if there are any other preliminary matters that needs to be taken, interlocutory or otherwise, this is the time to just make those applications. And this is the best time to put your foot, as it were, your best foot forward, because this is the time to engender confidence in your client, to show your client that indeed you know your onions and you are ready to dwell with the other parties, and to also show to the court, the honorable justices, that you are well conversant with the facts of the case and you are going to assist the court to do justice. So now ultimately is the day we all been waiting for, and it's the beginning of the first, as it were, and this is a time for parties to begin to outline their cases. All this while we've had so much of a media frenzy with regards to what the case is, but now we'll begin to see the strategies for the petitioners because they'll have the first bite. They'll be the first to have a go, to outline their case, to present the evidence, call their witnesses, and basically just lay out their case for the court and the entire world to see. So this is the time to understand clearly what the issues are, why the parties are in court, why Peter Obi is in court, why Atiku is in court, and why the other political parties also have challenged the result. We will know now whether there's substance to that case, whether there's any substance to their petition. We'll begin to hear their various arguments, and we'll begin to see how the defense, the respondents in the matter, will begin to pick holes in those evidence presented before the tribunal.
All right, you can join our live stream on YouTube. Just type in Citizen FM 93.7 and you'll be part of the show. The phone lines are open. You can call us on 0903 2229 797, or you can call us on 0818 2222 205. Okay, we have a caller here. Let's see. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, Maxman calling.
Maxman, it's been a while.
Yeah, your shows, they come out a little bit. Sometimes we are before you.
Okay.
Guests,
okay, Maxman, please go ahead. Make it snappy. And ID, I can see your number blinking. Just hold on. Let Maxman finish. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Pertaining to swearing in and our courts, I think what INEC should do, they should backdate the time of election. They should make sure the presidential election are concluded before 7 months to the date of the president will leave office. Our constitution states that the case can be tried for 6 months. So if they bring dates back, we will have enough time for our courts to finish. And now is the time for the lawyers who encourage those who file the suit that yes, you won the election. They should come out with the fact, because judges, they require conviction. If the ability to convince them, point to them, this is the reality. That is how they pass their judgment. It all depends on the presentation, what the lawyers they present. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you so much, Maxman. I think ID is on the line. ID, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lawrence.
Okay, good morning. I think you knocked out ID. Oh yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, I would like our guest to please tell me if I heard that in 2007 when Buhari challenged Obasanjo about this issue of 25% in FCC. So how did it all go? So that's number one. Number two, what are they saying about this issue of televising the proceedings? Just these two things. I would like you to say something about it. Thank you very much.
All right, okay. Thank you. Hello, good morning. Hello. Okay, we lost that. Well, the numbers to call 0903 2229 797, or you call us on 0818 2222 205. You can also call us on 0818 2222 206. And ID, you can still call back. I saw your call earlier on. And Ataguba, you may respond to some of the issues raised by the callers.
The first issue, the first caller, he raised the issue that we've touched upon with regards to whether the president-elect should be sworn in while there's a pending petition. While I understand that the swearing the president-elect while his election is being contested is problematic and irrational for some reasons. The reason being that it undermines public confidence in the electoral process. You have a president-elect who's being sworn in, and his election is being contested, still pending. That means you don't have clarity whether he's indeed the president or not, and it brings in uncertainty to the system. And you also look at the issue of wastage of public resources, because a whole lot of funds is going to go into the ceremony of swearing in people. Presidents from other nations are coming in. All that is going to affect, as it were, the resources of the nation, because that's going to be wasted if at the end of the day from the tribunal there's a decision that says the president-elect who was sworn in is not the winner of the election. There has to be another inauguration, another swearing in. That's public resources going there. But what one needs to take into account, right, on the other side is the potential for a constitutional crisis. Now, you have a situation where the Constitution has has outlined the process for the smooth transition of power, right? You have where the president, the current president, must leave office at the end of his tenure. He must leave office. There's no room for an extension. There's no room for any transitional arrangement, right? He must leave office. And if he must leave office, somebody must take the reins of power. Without that, you're going to have a constitutional crisis. And we don't want to go there. Because it becomes an all-comers affair. Everybody claiming to be the president at that point in time. And the current president no longer having the legitimacy to remain in power, to hold on to power. So you will have a constitutional crisis. So that's why most times nations who are faced with situations like this, they basically rely on the doctrine of necessity. The doctrine of necessity is simply a doctrine that is invoked in order to maintain sanity, as it were, right? So it may not sound completely logical and rational if you look at it holistically, because there are other opposing thoughts that definitely goes against it. But let me give you one. One is that there's the principle of law that talks about lis pendens, meaning that once a matter is pending before a court, all the parties must take action. You must not do anything to change the nature or color of that dispute. And in this circumstance, there's a dispute with regards to who is the winner of the election, and that is pending before the court. If you go by that doctrine, it simply means that all the parties must maintain status quo until the court reaches a decision on it. And that means you cannot proceed with the swearing in of the president-elect. Now, that is a principle, a legal principle, that is adhered to by every rational thinking, law-abiding person, and even the courts. It's upheld across board. So that is being violated here because there's a pending suit, there's a pending petition before the by the electoral tribunal, but yet the president-elect is going to be sworn in on the 29th of this month.
Because that's what the law says.
Yes, because that's what the law says. But that is the inherent contradictions that we are talking about. We are saying that for us to resolve this, we must go back to the National Assembly, because the National Assembly will have to think out with the Constitution and think out with all the other laws. And that is the only remedy. So,
but I wonder, why is this such a big deal today? Because I remember in 2007, the president was sworn in while the case was pending. In 2011, the same thing. Even in 2003.
That has been part of our history. Every single time we've had an election, there's always been the contest going to the election. To the electoral tribunal.
Just a minute, let me take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Who's on the line, please?
Yeah, I'm Mohammed calling from Musa.
Okay, Mohammed, please go ahead.
Yeah, my contribution this morning is in respect to what the barrister said. To me, ever since there've been election in this country, it's always challenging that process. That is the loser always challenge the winner. And they've been sworn in the president-elect while the case is pending in court. So I don't think this should be different, or we'll look at it based on any other sentimentalism or sectionalism. The president-elect should be sworn in while the case continue in a competent court of law. So the matter of saying the resources of the state and other factors, I don't think that one should arise now. If it has not happened before, or it has been happening while they are swearing in the president-elect, so I don't think there's any need for now, except if they are to go back to National Assembly. That is after these swearing in, then they make another law in respect of that whenever the president-elect and there is a case in court, that person should not be sworn in. Then that is when the barrister can come publicly and be saying what he said. Thank you for that.
Okay, but I think you got it all mixed up. But I think Taguba is here. He can explain himself. I don't think that is what he said.
Yeah, well, what I've said, I mean, so far, I have basically been analyzing the two school of thoughts.
Exactly.
I have not leaned towards anyone per se, but basically just to analyze the various opinions for and against the various sides. I mean, the various divide. But like I've said, there's a whole lot of, should I say, history. There's a whole lot of history supporting the swearing in of the president. What has now changed now that people are now clamoring for the swearing in to be postponed until the matter is decided in court? What has changed? The only thing that has changed now is that people have become more conscious. People have now become more aware. We are now more involved in such a way that people are now looking at the rationality or otherwise of our laws, right? That's just, I think basically that's what has changed. People have now become more aware. So people are talking about it, and you can't stop people from talking about it. You can't stop people from, seeking to, improve the system. And because the thing has been, does not stop one from seeking a different situation. So because we have been doing it this way does not mean it must proceed that way. Exactly.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes to go. Oh, our time flies, and we can still take one or two calls. You can call us on 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818. Okay, ID finally. ID, good morning.
Sorry, please. Good morning, sir. He has not answered my question.
Okay.
Then number 2 is about dual citizenship. What does the law say about
Okay, I think you're getting it mixed up. Atagoba is not here to give judgment over those matters. We were just actually talking.
What does the law say?
Okay, I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Atagoba, I'm afraid if you can just do that in 10 seconds.
A very quick answer to that, right? But the Constitution obviously says that a person with dual citizenship cannot attain to the presidency of the country. But that has been interpreted in several decisions of the court. And the Supreme Court has even said that only applies to persons who have acquired citizenship either by registration or naturalization. But it does not apply to one who was born a Nigerian. So if you put it together with the facts that it's present right now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from all the evidence before us, is a citizen of Nigeria by birth. Therefore, even if he has acquired another citizenship, it does not disqualify him from becoming a president.
Okay, Ataguba, one issue that a lot of people have said over the years that election petition across board is gradually destroying our democratic norms. Now, they paint this picture. People vote for particular candidates and others go to court based on technicalities. They overturn what was originally the mandate of the people. I give you an example of the Bayelsa State election, the last one that was held. You remember the matters at the end of the day, David Lyle of APC, who won the election, less than 24 hours to swearing in because of what his deputy, his running mate did in terms of educational qualification, was swept aside and somebody else took that mantle. And there are some other cases like this.
Yes. I totally understand the sentiment of all those who have raised this issue, right? Why should the court be the one to decide, who should take the position or who should be the winner? But the reason why the court exists is because of the imperfection in human processes. And you must have an arbiter, you must have an impartial judge to be able to decide between two warring parties. Without the arbiter in the middle, you can only ask for chaos and you can only ask for disaster. So the court is a necessary part of this process, and I think people should be more aware that without the court, this can only be left to those who we call the strong and those who will be brutish at the end of the day.
Okay, before I let you go, would you subscribe to a live transmission of this proceedings?
I will subscribe wholeheartedly to it because it's a national issue. There's nothing to hide. And moreover, the court itself, it's a place called a public space. So proceedings in that space should be available for every person. And right now, technological advancement had given us the ability to, mirror these events, transmit it live for people to see. This, for me, is an aspect of transparency, and the court should make a decision to allow this to be shown to everybody.
Okay, I think we will leave it at that. Thank you so much, Taguba Abuja, solicitor of the Senior Court of England and Wales, and also a practicing lawyer in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you, Mr. Lauren.
Well, that's our package on Insight. Tomorrow is another day where hopefully we will review what happened today at the Court of Appeal currently sitting. My name is Lawrence Umotte. Continue to enjoy the rest of your day.